I'm Michelle from the Sterling Tribune, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
As a Canadian, I will say that more than likely, I'm just going to get screwed another way. That's the way it always works.
They're knowledgeable.
Maybe that's where life began, on MU-69. We don't know.
And sometimes they're a bit angry.
Skype, I'm breaking up with you. It's not me, it's totally you.
Gonna Geek Productions presents the official GonnaGeek.com show.
Hello and welcome to episode 201 of the official GonnaGeek.com show. I am Stephen Jondrew, and with me, of course, is Chris Ferrell.
I still don't like Skype so much, but we're getting along again.
Unfortunately, Stargate Pioneer is away today, so we'll just give the chat room a moment to clear out. All right, everybody seems to be gone now. We also have with us, of course, Sunkast.
Hello, and welcome to episode 201 of the Gonna Geek Show.
Okay, that's really, really weird.
Wait a sec. What's going on here?
I'm not sure, but for you audio listeners, it appears that I have illegally imported Sunkast into Canada. He has immigrated here, and he doesn't have a visa. He doesn't have a passport. He's not supposed to be here. Call the authorities, get him deported. That's fine. He is using my backdrop, of course, and the way that this is working, it's time travel. So that's because I only have one.
No. I'm sitting on your lap.
It's true.
That's true. It's creative camera angles. If he angles himself slightly, you're gonna see me. But yeah.
But what I have noticed, Stephen, is he has a golden microphone where you
do.
Again, the camera angles.
Solid gold.
The camera angles are making it seem that way. So we're sharing. We like to get nice and close. It's what we do.
It's shiny.
But if you were like, hey, that's not enough, you should know that we have, of course, after this moment, she's going to keep us in line. Michelle Ealey is here.
Hello, boys. How are you doing?
Now, we actually invited Michelle on here because guess what? We are about to, in about half hour, talk about a bunch of SDCC trailers. And I actually think that Michelle is like the most well-rounded geek that I personally know. That is, I am always like, I'm not making a joke. I actually think that the amount of different geekery that you check out, enjoy, are up to date on, you are perfect to talk about all of these different SDCC trailers.
Oh, wait, thank you. That's like the nicest thing anybody said to me in a while.
Well, we will do our best to make me not seem so nice by the end of the episode.
Sure.
That's probably going to happen, just to be fair.
All right. So, yeah, Stargate Pioneer's away this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But for now, we'll continue on without him. We do miss him, SP. We know that you're kind of in the chat a little bit tonight. And I hope that we, and by we, I mean Sunkast, does your seat justice. Because if there's a failure, it's Sunkast's fault.
I heard he's on the moon this week.
That's why he can't get
there. There's too much latency between here and the moon, so we couldn't do a video stream. So good luck in the SNES moon base, SP. Excuse me, Director SP.
I can neither confirm nor deny where SP is located at this time.
Oh, well, we know that apparently they found more water on the moon than they originally thought. So I think you might be checking that out.
Oh, that's a great point.
Well, we do know SP loves the Martians, so we think he's trying to just start early. Instead of making Martian potatoes, he's making lunar potatoes right now.
Oh, it all makes sense. Mm-hmm. I like potatoes too. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on into the news. Here we go. Let's go ahead and start off with Michelle Ealey for her news this week.
Yeah, my news is funny, but also a little sad.
It is. It is.
Scientific Journal published bogus paper about midichlorians from Star Wars. Unfortunately, in the scientific community, there is this group of journals that will publish little anything for a price. And you need to understand, to get recognized and grants, scientists need to be published, but then they have to actually do the work to get published, and that can take time. So there's sort of has this environment of, hey, give us money, we'll just publish your paper. That is becoming a business. And so some journals actually published a meme-filled paper by Lucas McGeorge and Annette Kin referencing midichlorians. The paper is actually by the anonymous science blogger Neuroskeptic. Out of the 9 suspect open access journals to which Neuroskeptic submitted the paper, 3 published it, and 1 asked for $360. This is actually cheap. I have heard of some saying that we'll publish it for $1,000, and they just won't read. They'll just oh, thank you for your money. Here, you'll be published in a journal, and now you can tell other people that you've been published. One journal peer-reviewed the paper, spotted the spoof, and rather than reject the paper outright, this is funny, they asked for a resubmission with a joke comment. The authors have neglected to add the following references: Lucas et al., 1977, Palpatine et al., 1980, and Clarician et al., 1983. So that's funny.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, the article has a link to the actual paper, which I've included in the show notes, and I read it. Not only am I a Star Wars fan, but I teach biology, so I got the joke on different levels, and how it takes the facts of mitochondria and reads it, and basically all of a sudden he talks about midichlorians, and then there's diseases, and the paper even ends with the tale of Darth Plagueis, and it's actually in there. And it's 6 pages. It's worth a read. It's just really funny. One of my favorite parts, though, comes from the section on midichlorial diseases. And I quote, this is from the paper. Diseases similar to Kylorian syndrome seem to be the result of large-scale mtDNA rearrangements. Point mutations in mtDNA are responsible for other diseases such as myoclonic epilepsy with ragged red fibers, Jar Jar syndrome, lightsabers, hereditary optic neuropathy, and others.
Oh, this is unbelievably hilarious and sad all at the same time. So let's go to our resident Star Wars nerd, Chris Ferrell, here to remind everybody who may not be familiar, what are midichlorians?
Well, Steven, I really wish that one Stargate Pioneer had been here tonight, because midichlorians are in fact the best part of Star Wars Episode 1, which in SP's mind is the best of the Star Wars movies. Yes, they are responsible, the microscopic organisms that live in a Jedi's body, for making them be able to touch and connect to the Force.
And the paper actually goes into that, and it says, without these, life wouldn't have known it, and we wouldn't have known the Force. It's great.
And the thing is, midichlorians is such a hot topic, debated part of the Star Wars universe, that this is just amazing trolling, but it's so sad that people published it. I want to ask other Steven, which is Sunkast, by the way, other Steven, what's your thoughts?
You'll probably hate me for this, but I lean towards the more of, this is sad. The fact that this was published, the fact that somebody actually spent time doing this, actually spent money doing this. We have this thing, it's called the internet. You can self-publish. I don't know why you would need to pay anybody to publish anything these days.
I like to think, and this is the part of me that just wants to see this not be terribly sad. Part of me is all of these were published by disgruntled employees. That's what I want so bad out of this, but I don't know. Michelle, Thank you very much for that. It's sad yet hilarious.
Yeah, it's just, I'm really glad things like this are happening. This is not the first time that bogus papers have been sent to these, because in America, we're getting this anti-science movement, and the scientific community has taken notice that they need to come together and actually police themselves and to make sure that what is published in things that say they're scientific journals are actually scientific in nature.
Well, all I gotta say is that SNASA better fix this with time travel, and by fix this, I mean the midichlorians in the Star Wars canon. That's what I'd like to get fixed by time travel. But let's go ahead and move on to our next news point, which is amazingly uplifting news, because remember, last year there was this amazing craze called Pokemon Go, and everybody embraced it. So the summer's back. People are back in full swing, Pokemon going again. Right, Sunkast?
Yeah, absolutely. So you might have heard that Niantic has held their first ever in real life event where up to 20,000 attendees came from all over the world. They spent like $20 for their tickets. Scalp tickets were going for as much as $250 on eBay. Why anybody would pay that kind of money for a $20 ticket? Beyond me. But it was expected that those attending this event would have the first chance to catch legendary Pokemon along with other very rare Pokemon. However, it became very, very clear that early on that the event was a disaster. So first of all, people started lining up for early access. I guess there was this whole early access thing, and people ended up spending 2 hours waiting in line in the early access line just to get into Grant Park. And then once they were in Grant Park, well, there was 20,000 people there. Well, Niantic servers, as usual, just like launch day, couldn't handle the traffic, and neither could the cell towers in the area. So this became a very frustrating problem, as most players in Grant Park could not log in or play Pokemon Go at Pokemon Go Fest. And it got to the point where when Niantic CEO John Hanke came on stage to talk to the crowd, he was heavily booed, and the crowd started chanting, fix the game. It was just an all-around disaster. People started leaving at like 1 p.m., and even then, there was a line to get out of Grant Park. So you waited 2 hours in line just to get into Grant Park. Then you waited like another hour or two to exit Grant Park. Well, for all of the trouble, Niantic said that they are going to give full refunds to ticket holders, the price of the ticket, $20. They're also going to give attendees $100 in virtual coins, plus they will actually get one of those legendaries added automatically to their account. Not exactly sure how all this is going to work, as Niantic just said, expect to get an email with further instructions. So needless to say, there are a lot of people that are upset that they spent all this time and money traveling to Chicago. They get there only to have to wait in line. And then when they do get into the event area, well, they can't play because Niantic servers are down and there's not enough cell towers to accommodate 20,000 people.
This is insane that they didn't have this forethought, because presumably for something like Pokemon Go, you've got a situation that everybody that there's multiple servers and you're routed to your local server, right? Like that's the way it's got to work. The fact that they didn't think you stuff all of these people into one area, maybe we should reinforce that server, is ridiculous.
They also didn't plan for the cell phone connectivity to be required. When you have a big event like South by Southwest and things like that, you see a lot of portable cellular network antennas stood up and cellular mesh networks. Yeah, by all reports, all the people that were there for this event, they didn't see any signs of any of those portable towers or whatnot to kind of help make the signal better. So I guess if you were with, AT&T and it was either Sprint or Verizon, I can't remember which, you could get basically no service the entire time you were there. And if you got on one of the Wi-Fis, you might have gotten lucky.
Oh, it's so dumb.
Ironically, the event was co-sponsored by Sprint. You would have thought that Niantic would have had, say, hey, Sprint, we're having this event. Can you guys handle that amount of traffic in this little area? We don't know. We'll just stick people in there and see how it goes because, what could go wrong?
The problem is, though, that nobody uses Sprint.
True. But do you guys think that the refund of the ticket, the $100 in virtual coins, and the legendary Pokemon being automatically added to attendees' accounts is enough compensation, especially for those that actually traveled from other countries or other coast of the United States, and they spend a lot of time and money traveling to get to Chicago?
Well, I mean, if they advertised it as a come everybody, we're going to have this great event. And if you love Pokemon Go and it's going to be like, it seems like this very special, may never happen event, then yeah, they need to do a little bit more than just here's a virtual Pokemon and stuff, because that's like if you, for example, go to a convention and there's all these things advertised. And yeah, sometimes a guest might cancel and such, but it's like going to a convention and all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, we just have no celebrities now. Or all of a sudden, hey, no more Artist Alley or something, like this huge chunk's just gone. Then yeah, a little bit more than just a refund is necessary.
I agree. I think that it's really unfair for those who did travel that far, but I think there's probably other events where this has gone to court and we could find out what the courts feel they are entitled to. I'm sure this isn't the first time something like this has happened.
It's very interesting that it's yet again that Niantic has completely dropped the ball on this. I mean, we all know the troubles that Pokemon Go had when they launched, and I think in large part a lot of people expected something bad to happen. I don't know if people expected it to go this badly, but I mean, if people did stay for Sunday, they did get a little bit better service because they extended the radius out by 2 miles. So that was one of the ways that they compensated by not having everybody crammed in such a small area. So it'll be interesting to see what they do if they do another one of these types of events.
But, they expanded it to an area where people were that didn't pay for it. So there were a bunch of people who just got to walk through and then get the Pokemon and not be part of the experience and not pay for the experience. So while that might have helped deal with the congestion, it also kind of just gave a bunch of other people free stuff.
Yeah. And not only that, but also the fact that they probably lost like 90% of their attendees in the first day probably made a lot of these problems better.
There's a video on YouTube that has like all the cringeworthy moments because they did like a Twitch stream. And so they cut out like all the cringeworthy moments and it's like a 10-minute long video. But the best part, I think, is when the CEO of Niantic is actually on stage getting booed and he's just like, sorry. We know we're having trouble. And they just keep going and giving excuses. Our servers are having troubles. Oh, we found some bugs that we're going to fix. We're trying to work with with Sprint to get more bandwidth out here. And it's just like, what the heck were you thinking?
Well, I think that this is though something that quite honestly, I think that this should not have happened. It's not like it's a revolutionary event by any means, but anyways, let's just go ahead and move on to our next news point, which is indeed revolutionary. And that is the fact that the Justice League movie is currently conducting reshoots. This happens from time to time. You end up in a situation that you film a movie and you're like, you know what we need to do? We need to get more footage because it needs to change. So you pad a little bit onto the end of the calendar so that you can bring all your actors and your actresses and all your talent back and you can do those reshoots. Well, sometimes in life you end up in a situation where the reshoots have to go on longer, such as in a movie that's probably the first draft was the garbage and terrible. So they end up deciding to do it. Is theoretical, by the way.
The pure thought exercise, everyone.
Thought exercise. So then you end up deciding to extend your reshoots. Well, what happens when one of your lead actors is contracted for another film? Well, this is the case in Justice League, is that Henry Cavill, who plays Superman, by the way, that means that he's in the Justice League. Spoiler. He ends up apparently, guess what happens? He is slated to do Mission Impossible, and he had a fairly tight schedule after the Justice League filming. So in his Mission Impossible contract, he is required to have a mustache. That's right. He's required to have a mustache, which means how are you going to do reshoots when Henry Cavill has a mustache and he's not supposed to have a mustache in Justice League? So it's crazy. Well, thanks to technology, they have announced that they will be CGIing out his mustache for the reshoots.
I cannot wait to read the credits, and it says Henry Cavill's mustache crew.
Exactly.
And you see all the list of the animators and everything who had to like get rid of the mustache. I can't wait for that.
There's going to be a whole CGI block on that, Michelle.
Please let them be called the Mustache Wranglers. Please.
Oh man, this is ridiculous. And you know, to be honest, talking about the Justice League movie, I actually think this is a very good thing. I'm very happy to see these reshoots going along. I think that this is good. That this is a good sign that they're actually going in and they're making adjustments. We know that Joss Whedon came in here to finish it off, and I think that this is a good sign that maybe we're going down a different direction than Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman. So I'm very happy to be seeing this happen. But the CGI thing is hilarious because it's a ridiculous amount of cash because Henry Cavill has to have a mustache in another movie and they're not letting him out of that contract. That's funny. But, you know, ultimately, the way that I look at it is that it is a lot of money, but the technology exists. So if we want to get rid of somebody's mustache or beard, we can quite easily do that. So that's very possible.
I see what he did there. So what they should have done is said, hey, who produces Mission Impossible? I can't remember. Paramount. Be like, hey, Paramount, we'll pay the CGI budget for you to give him a mustache if you let us shave the mustache off for Justice League.
This is confusing for me, though, because I'm like, there's makeup effect companies out there that specialize in actually putting hair on people. It's like it can't be that much more expensive to actually lay hair on somebody than it is to actually go through an entire film and CGI off somebody's mustache. Why wouldn't you just come in with a makeup effects company and tell them lay some hair and make it a mustache? This actually happens in movies.
Yeah, I actually had the same thought. I was surprised they can make very convincing prosthetics with a mustache. Like I'm very shocked that this is where they went, but it might just be whoever has Mission Impossible is just doing it to be an ass. Like it could very well just be that.
To be fair, he signed a contract that said he'd have a mustache. Now, that whether they're enforcing it or not, it's kind of a dick move. Being a dick move, rather, is a different story. But it's absolutely hilarious. They're going to have to CGI out a mustache. And I can't wait for like the one frame they miss or something like that. So somebody goes frame by frame through the movie like, oh, there's his mustache. They screwed up. And I can't wait to see it.
It's ridiculous. And just Google this. Just Google Henry Cavill mustache because there is an amazing amount of terrible Photoshops going on right now on the internet that are hilarious. They're so funny. You should really check that out.
Fun fact, Steven actually does this for SP because you see him, during the summer months, he doesn't have that beard or anything. Mm-hmm. That's all done through CGI. See?
It is. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do. It's what we can do here. Simple. But let's go ahead and move on to our next news point and our last news point, which is that Chris has a fever.
That's true. And the only prescription is more SNES Classic. So I don't know if you guys had caught it. Friday night it was. I guess I was laying down. I was getting ready to go to bed. And of course, before I go to bed, I go through twitter.com just to see what's new out there. And I go on there and I follow Wario64, who's known for breaking a bunch of video game deals and things like that. And I want to say it was about 11:30, 11:40. I see a post. Hey, Walmart's got SNES Classics up for a pre-order. And you hear me go, whoa, what? And I pull up the Walmart website. I go, there's an SNES Classic for pre-order. I hit the pre-order button. I'm getting through there. I forget my password to do it. I'm going, oh no, I'm screwed. I'm never going to get this SNES Classic. I reset my password. It's been about 10 minutes since this all started. I file my pre-order and I pause and I go, son of a gun. Did I actually get this? And I wait email confirmation comes and all these other things. Everyone's going crazy online. The SNES Classic's out. Who else is going to start their pre-orders? I let everyone know on the Gonna Geek Network. I know that one Cody Goff got his pre-order in. So Walmart did everything, but no one else has put their pre-orders out. But it started the mad frenzy of everyone going, hey, GameStop, hey, Amazon, hey, Best Buy, hey, Target. When you guys doing your SNES Classic pre-orders? And everyone's like, oh, we're not really planning on doing it. And then it started the rumor mill going. And this is where it gets real fun, guys. Now there's a lot of people reporting that Walmart is starting to cancel these SNES Classic pre-orders because they opened the pre-orders too soon and they didn't mean to. Now, this is all a bunch of Reddit threads and things like that going that where people have, quote, screen captured chat messages with the Walmart support folks. So we don't know if it's actually real, but supposedly Walmart opened the doors a little too soon, let people get pre-orders, has canceled some but not all, and then is sending additional mixed messages on social media where people tweet to Walmart, hey, at Walmart, so glad I got my SNES Classic. And they're tweeting back to them, hey, glad you got one too, and things like that. So no one has any idea what's happening right now, whether the SNES Classic pre-orders that Walmart did are legit, whether they're not, when any of these other retailers are going to do it. And the frenzy has started because everyone remembers the NES Classic frenzy where you just couldn't find one. It's been really fun to watch. So part of this is a humble brag, which is, hey guys, I got to pre-order one. It's probably going to get taken away from me. I got to pre-order one.
Maybe. And they actually haven't done pre-orders up in Canada. They never ended up doing pre-orders for the NES Classic. So I never saw this show up here. I've been searching every day to see if there's any rumbling. So I believe that it is early. I completely believe it.
So I will say, I will quote Cody. I was talking back and forth in one of the group chats. Cody Goff, who's been on the show before, we were talking about the perils of trying to pre-order one and whether it's going to get canceled, and everyone that was grumbling about it, he goes, hey, it doesn't matter. We just caught the expletive deleted Loch Ness Monster. He's pretty right. Now, I will keep you guys in the loop as to whether my pre-order gets canceled or not going down the line. I think it's pretty much a coin flip that says whether it gets canceled or not. But for all of you listeners who are wanting to get an SNES Classic, make sure you follow Wario64 on Twitter. Make sure you're on the Reddit threads. Make sure you sign up for notifications on Amazon and Target and Walmart and Toys R Us, because they will do email notifications when the pre-orders start, if the pre-orders start. There's also a chance that some places like GameStop may not do pre-orders. You might just have to line up that early morning and hope you get one of the 4 that come into that store.
Yep. It's crazy.
How much is it?
$80.
And what all do you get?
21 games and 2 controllers.
Any good games?
Star Fox 2. It's the first time Star Fox 2 has been published, which is really intriguing. But one of my favorite is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, which I will replay multiple times.
Super Mario World played a big part of my childhood, so
yes.
I'm looking forward to that. I miss that. Sunkast, what do you think?
This is interesting, and if I was one of those people that saw that there was a pre-order, ordered it, and then had my order canceled, I'd be like, "What you gonna do about it?" I mean, I would imagine that you could almost have a class action lawsuit.
I don't know. There's lots of things that, like, Amazon is notorious for having different people post wrong pricing and them just being like, nope, not fulfilling it.
It's a sucky deal either way.
It is. Totally
Yes.
is.
And it's Nintendo. They made 10 classic Nintendos for a month. Everybody wanted that. Nintendo's like, everybody wanted that?
Yeah.
Oh, let's stop making it. And now let's make this.
It's so dumb.
It's Nintendo.
Pretty much.
I'm looking forward, though, to hopefully getting my hands on one. I genuinely am. I really hope that I can get one, even if I have to wait for it, because I'm actually NES Classic. I've said it before. Really, really excited. Liked it. Enjoy it. I'm more excited for SNES. SNES was my gem.
Me too.
But let's go ahead and move on to our trailer talk. Yeah, It's trailer talk time. That's right. SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, which isn't really a Comic-Con anymore. It's more of a pop culture type convention thing, and it really shouldn't be called a Comic-Con, and it's kind of should just be its own thing. Yeah, it was this past weekend, and there was a lot of stuff that came out because studios like to pimp their stuff at SDCC, and that's what we got. I know, it's shocking, right? So we got a bunch of trailers, and we're going to discuss them. We're going to all give a bit of insight to our thoughts, but at the end of it, we're going to answer the question as we go through all of these properties. Are we more excited, less excited, neutral, and did it deserve to be released as an SDCC feature? So let's start off with some television shows before we get to the movies. We'll leave the movies for last. One of the TV shows that actually released a trailer this week was for The Orville, which is that Fox TV show that is Seth MacFarlane, and it's kind of like Star Trek, but it's supposed to be partial comedy and stuff like that. Now, they released a trailer and some more information about it, and apparently it's actually not going to be totally comedy like the trailers have led you to believe so far. There's going to be some other elements to it. That's what Seth MacFarlane says. So this trailer came out. You can look it up, and it's just a whole bunch of more footage. Let's start off with Chris. What was your thoughts?
I didn't watch this one because I forgot all about the second trailer that came out for the Orville.
All right. Well,
I've seen the first one, and I still want to see it, but I'm curious. You guys have seen it. Let me know if it's worth seeing. I think it is, but I'm open to other opinions.
This is interesting because if you actually watch the trailer that they released, it's being directed or produced by Jon Favreau, which is a big name in these types of series. So you have that going for it. And then you also have Seth MacFarlane, which is a big name. You know what really comes to mind when I watch this? Galaxy Quest. And I mean this in a very good way. Galaxy Quest is probably one of my favorite movies. I thought it was hilarious. I love that it was so satirical. And I think The Orville is much of the same as what you would expect from a Galaxy Quest, where it's meant to poke fun at this whole sci-fi culture and these sci-fi traveling shows that you would see like Star Trek.
I agree 100%. I think that you nailed it. That's the perfect summary, and I'm excited for this. I will say that the trailer, the way that I believe is that the trailer did not leave me any more excited. I do think it was still SDCC worthy though, because I think that it got more eyes on it, but it didn't really do anything more for me than the teaser did.
Well, here's the downside to this series. It's on Fox. So
yeah,
you know Fox's record with sci-fi shows.
Mm-hmm.
Also fair.
Michelle, your thoughts?
I too thought Galaxy Quest. I'm positive for this has Victor Garber, but because Victor Garber's on Legends of Tomorrow, I know that it's not going to be Victor Garber all the time, so that's sad. I don't know if it was SDCC worthy because it really just didn't do a lot. So I'm still kind of meh.
I agree. Like I said, I like it, but I don't think it was I think it was SDCC worthy because it got more eyes on it, but it didn't do anything more for me. So I understand your position. Next one was the Star Trek Discovery. This is the new television show that is coming to CBS All Access or Netflix if you're outside of the US, except for Canada where it is on Space, which will then lead to one of those other streaming services. Let's start off with Chris.
I'm sort of coming around to Star Trek Discovery. I'm still not at the point where I'm like, I'm going to give CBS All Access my cash just for a Star Trek show and nothing else I care about on that channel. But I'm starting to get a little more interested, despite the fact it's basically Explosions, the Star Trek show.
I agree. It's given me more hope in recent, for sure, without question. This trailer actually entices me more. I think that people like Sunkast, though, who don't want that movie feel probably deterred them more.
Yeah. It's just it's a little over dramatic for me. And I've actually been going back and watching Star Trek Voyager just as something to have on when there's nothing else on TV. And I really do like that episodic nature of Star Trek, and I'm just not quite getting that from Discovery. That, I mean, personally, that's just not what I want from a Star Trek series. I want it to be episodic TV show. And I mean, it's more of a Netflix style show. And I get that's why it might be a good fit for CBS All Access, but to me, it's just very different from the other series.
So the showrunners made a point of trying to say this is going to be the first really serialized Star Trek TV show. And I kind of paused and I went, well, what about Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Because, yeah, that was pretty serialized. There was long overarching plots and things like that just kind of took up everything. And I'm sitting there going, did they just forget? And I saw a great Twitter post of someone that posted that quote, and it's just an animated GIF of Worf going, and face palming.
What are they talking about? Voyager spent 7 seasons trying to get home.
Yeah.
We had more ships exploding, so it's that Star Trek tradition of blowing up like the ship. But I just, is this SDCC worthy? Yes.
Sure.
Am I more intrigued? Yes. It has Klingons and war, which is what Enterprise should have been. Enterprise should have been Klingons, Andorians, and war. But then we got Andorians, which are awesome. And then weird time travel stuff, which was not awesome. Do I want to give CBS All Access money? Not yet. Because one of the things I don't like about the new Star Trek movies is that they want to be action adventure Star Wars-y type of thing. And it's like, no, get your Star Wars out of my Star Trek. You can be a fan of both, but don't try to make Star Trek Star Wars. Let Star Trek be Star Trek.
Yeah, I gotta say, for me, this made me more excited, but I didn't think it was SDCC worthy because I think that this could have been released any other time. That was my opinion.
Well, they waited on purpose. I mean, it's SDCC. This is when you get the most eyes on all of these things.
Yeah. Next one that we've got here, and we'll actually lump 3 of them together, 4 of them together, and then we'll dissect. We've got Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. CW dropped their slate of DC television trailers for the next season. My quick thoughts before I turn it over to you guys. Supergirl, nice to see she's a little bit darker. I like to see some of this fallout from the last season. This actually has me way more excited than any other season ever.
Really?
Yeah, way more excited for Supergirl than the past 2 seasons. I said any season ever just because I thought it was more dramatic. And plus, Talbot without a mustache, Talbot from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's just like instantly awesome. And absolutely, I think this nailed the mark for SDCC.
And so I'm a little biased because I do a podcast with Chris on the show Arrow. But one thing about this is that, of course, it's Comic-Con worthy because these are actual comic book shows. And it's great that they come together as this block and they do panels and everything like that. I agree. Supergirl, it looked like she's finally going. I know more of whom I am, because last season was a little bit, can it be Car, can it be Supergirl, la 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 la. Now she's a little bit more, I know who I am, and let's get stuff done. The Flash, I liked that it was from Iris's point of view, but it wasn't surprising that, oh look, they're trying to get Barry back. Like that, it's like, yeah, figured. Legends, it looks like is going to be more Bat guano crazy as it's always been, and I love you Legends so much. It looks like it's going to keep up the fun. Let's hope so. The trailer I wasn't too impressed with was the Arrow one, because it basically was, hey, let's show you basically the last episode of season 5 and tell you everything that happened in season 5 because we know you didn't watch, because we have the numbers. We have that numbers and we know you didn't watch. And let you know that some people did leave on the island and Ollie goes back to being the Green Arrow. So let's show you that he does go and be the hero thing. Just so you know that he's just not going to be single dad Mayor Ollie.
Yeah, I gotta say, I agree with most of your assessments there of those series. I gotta say, with the Arrow one, it was just disappointing that they completely just disregarded the entire like idea of a trailer. They just went, let's just recap it all. And it was, to me, obviously screaming, let's try to get some viewers back. With Legends of Tomorrow, the fact that they just decided that they were going to just show the craziness and embrace the craziness, that's what I want from that show. I want fun. Sunkast has said it 100 times on this show. It's just a fun show. And then with The Flash, I really liked seeing Iris not be the victim. We saw so much of the victim last year that it was so nice to see her in a more assertive role. So I will say that The Flash, no, it didn't meet SDCC though, because it was still kind of a little bit of predictable. Arrow completely missed the mark. Legends of Tomorrow, hell yes.
You know what's sad about that is that, and I completely agree with both of you regarding Arrow. I did not finish watching last season at all, whatever season it was, because I started giving up the season before that. And so I kind of muddled through the last season of Arrow and just never quite finished it. But the fact that, okay, well, this trailer that they released was like almost 4 minutes long. Like, why? I don't understand why they needed a nearly 4 minute long for something that nobody gives a crap about anymore because they screwed it up so many times. There is no way that the showrunners can ever get Arrow back to where it was in the first 3 seasons.
Funny you mentioned that though, Suncast, because if you go and look at it, they broke down what was the hottest things tweeted about at Comic-Con, and Arrow was like the number 3 hottest thing that was tweeted about. Got like the 3rd overall most tweets from this article I'd read, and I can't remember where exactly, but so people were excited about it. It still has a fandom and they have Comic-Con buzz. For me, it was just the fact that Slade Wilson's in it, and they said that Slade's coming back for season 6, so I'm sold. Slade's my boy.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest reason why people are interested in the next season.
Yeah, and that's why I think that they did this sort of let's try to recap our last season for people, because they know there's some eyes now that there talks out there that Slade's back. And the other thing that's confirmed in this, of course, is that we've got Dina and Earth a Million Laurel. Both of those were seen in the trailer.
Hashtag no Laurel, no Arrow.
What are we calling her? Are we calling her Black Siren? Is that her name?
Yeah, Black Siren. She's BS.
I will gladly call her BS anytime you'd like. I am happy though to see that we did see Dina. I think she was the only one. Dina Drake was the only one that we didn't know, or Dinah Drake. Well, what did she go by? I don't think that we knew that she was coming back, but it makes sense. She was an introduction last year that was really well received. Any other comments on that before we move on to the next one?
I was underwhelmed by and large with all of their trailers.
Yeah, I mean, CW just didn't seem like they put enough care into the trailers or in what they're doing. It just screamed mediocre to me. And knowing that these shows have been better, especially Arrow and Flash, I think Supergirl gets a pass because it's still relatively new and it's going on its 3rd season. But Flash, I don't know that I'm going to watch. Arrow, definitely not going to watch. Legends of Tomorrow, though, it looks like just give me more of the same, and I am perfectly fine with that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I know we got to move on in a sec, but real quick, go and think about like 2 or 3 Comic-Cons ago, Arrow, where they're like, Ra's al Ghul's coming into play, and they film custom stuff with a different actor before Matt and Abel's even cast to be like, oh, here's the tease for Ra's al Ghul. It seems like there was more hype and excitement a few years back, and right now it seemed like, let's just put together some clips from the first couple episodes we've filmed and see what happens.
Good assessment. The next one that we're going to talk about here is ABC's Inhumans. This is the Inhuman series that was supposed to be a movie, then was not a movie, then was supposed to be a replacement of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but was not a replacement. It's a beginning of the season thing. I got to say, and I know Chris is putting his head down, but I am seriously excited for Inhumans after this trailer. And the reason why is because it looks to be different. It's within the Marvel universe, but S.H.I.E.L.D. was so predictable. S.H.I.E.L.D., like the concept of S.H.I.E.L.D. was so predictable. And Inhumans, this looks like this is going to be a fun ride.
Right. Because we haven't seen the whole my brother is a lousy king, so let me try to usurp him and take control of our, I guess, a secret moon base that nobody, even secret NASA has never been able to find. And oh gee, let's go to Earth. And oh my goodness, we're inhumans that are going to be, hunted and prejudiced. And oh yeah, I've never seen this before. No, yeah,
because it reminds me a lot of some of the CW stuff that I like, and that's why I'm really excited about it. Like Shield just takes itself so stupidly serious, and this looks like it's trying to make I don't know.
It's trying to be serious.
I don't know that it is. I don't get that feel.
IMAX this. IMAX this. We're going to be in a theater because this is so serious. And look at her hair and look at the duck and all of that. It's inhuman.
See, I got the sense that they're like, let's do a series where everybody is trying to attack the world and let's have fun with it. That's the series that I got with it.
That's absolutely not what this is. I mean,
I don't know. And I'm not meaning like funny, camp. I mean like it's an enjoyable episodic ride. Like that's what I think. I don't think that they're trying to make this intricate layer within the Marvel universe that Shield has tried to do. I feel like Inhumans is gonna sort of be contained to a degree. I think that's the sense that I get, and that's the fun that I want, is this contained element.
Stephen, I hope you're right. I hope it's like, crazy like Legends and Gotham, and it kind of gets, kind of campy or something, like 60s Batman or something, but I don't think so.
So Michelle touched on a big point here. Remember how they've advertised this so heavily as IMAX. We're going to give you this great visual experience on IMAX, and then it'll come to TV. Yeah, that's great, except for the fact the sets look like poop. The special effects look like poop. Medusa's hair does not look at all like what Medusa's hair should be doing. Serinda Swan is wearing just an ugly red wig that at one point they animate it so that just two arms of hair reach out and grab someone. No, Steven, I know you've read the Fantastic Four books, the Inhuman books with Medusa's hair in it. Like it's a living creature and it swarms and grabs things. What the crap did they do for this Inhumans TV show? It looks terrible.
This is why I think it's gonna be fun. I do, because I think
it's so bad.
Because I think that they've gone and they're focusing on the sort of in-series story. But I don't know. I'm prepared for it to be crap.
So here's a line I never thought I would cross. I'm going to say something nice about The Cape, which was a real crappy NBC superhero show that I stuck with until the penultimate episode. I was like, I'm going to watch this show. Stupid idea. But you know what they got right? The living cape that reaches out and attacks things and grabs things. That's what Medusa's hair should be. It should be like Doctor Strange's cloak in the Doctor Strange movie. It is absolutely not that. Combine that with the fact the set dressing looks terrible. The only thing that has me excited is that Lockjaw looks pretty cool. Other than that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a flop. This is another Marvel TV flop, and it is not what we need right now. Do not wait.
Right.
You're going to make people watch this drivel instead of actually bringing back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right away. Stupid.
So I gotta say that I actually don't think this was SDCC worthy, even with how much I enjoyed it. I don't think it was at all.
It's not even TV worthy.
Like I said, it got me more. It got me more excited. With that said, I will leave a little Easter egg. I had an opportunity to extensively listen to episode 187 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I don't watch any of the Marvel series on Netflix right now. I have kids. The timing's bad for me to try to power through it. I intend to, but the episode they were discussing on there was some information about I think it was the writer of that episode, maybe the director. Apparently is behind Inhumans, and after my excitement, it quickly deflated me from what they were saying. So check out episode 187 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it drops. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next one?
I'll be surprised if this lasts longer than Agent Carter.
I actually, even with the trailer, I still think it's a 1 year thing. I don't think it's going to make it past a year. Even though I'm excited about it and I'm hopeful for it. And again, I'm fully prepared to be completely wrong on it. But I think that it will be a 1 year thing.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's a 1 year thing too, because I think after a year, there won't be any more Marvel on ABC. So there you go. Next one that we're going to talk about is Michelle and my favorite, Gotham. Gotham, Michelle and I message on a weekly basis about this because Gotham, I hated it at first, and it turned around so quickly after the first season, or even partway through the season. And last year was just awesome. And the tail end of the season before that was awesome. And this trailer did a lot of recap, kind of like Arrow did, which was really weird, but there was some things in there that still had me excited. However, there was a complete misbalance of old versus new. It was disappointing because of that. I don't know why they keep doing this recap thing. It's really weird. It was very much like the Arrow trailer. I don't think it was SDCC worthy because of that, but Scarecrow, that was the win.
Oh my gosh, we get Scarecrow, we have the Riddler on ice, and then we see a glimpse of Barbara who got electrocuted. I'm still thinking she's going to be a version of Harley Quinn. At least that's what I'm hoping. Or she becomes something, because Barbara, if you started watching Gotham and you're like, Barbara Keene, she's like an art house, art dealer, and she's boring. But man, they did something to her in the middle of season 1, and she is just out there and nuts, and it's fantastic. And how she ended, and it's just, this is a show that if you loved season 1 of Sleepy Hollow because it was Bat Guano crazy, then this is a show for you, because it's interesting. It feels like it takes place in the 1940s, but then they're using modern technology. It just feels very much in its own world. And we're finally getting Bruce as a Batman. And that's nice to see that he's becoming, Batman.
I still think it's a bit soon for that, but I'm okay with it because I recognize the longevity of this series, and I'm okay with it. I'm completely okay with jumping over those years that we should have.
Alfred is basically said, in the season finale, he's like, find your true north and protect it. And you have to realize, since season 1, he's never made Bruce go back to school. No. He's been, here's how to shoot a gun. Here's how to box, he basically is like, let him get away with anything. It's fantastic.
I was really unsure with, I don't know his name, but the guy that plays Alfred when it first came on, I love him. He's easily one of my top favorites on that show. I love him.
Me too.
SP Sunkast, Chris, do you care to chime in here? I know that you guys don't watch Gotham.
I'm just following your logic here. How are they going to get Bruce so business savvy then? If he's not doing any schooling, how does he become this business millionaire or billionaire?
When have the kids of rich parents ever needed to have smarts?
Oh, don't start this now. I can't handle it right now.
Yeah, like I said, I'm willing to jump over a whole bunch, a whole 10 years of what should be in that canon for this show, because it has been a fun ride.
So is it worth my going back and watching at some point?
I agree, I think so. And the reason I think so is because, Michelle, you only caught up last year, right?
Yes.
And because I remember we messaged, I think we were not this past season, the season before, the last two, you and I were messaging on a weekly basis. I think that was when you got caught up. And then we messaged this entire past season. And I don't know. To me, I've really enjoyed it, but you're the one that actually went through and power watched it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's available. I was ill. I was out from work and I had some time, and it's I kept hearing, I think from you and some others, that Gotham, it just embraced its crazy in the middle of season 1, and it did. And it just filled, because I loved Sleepy Hollow season 1, and then I was disappointed in season 2, and Gotham fills that really stylistically crazy other world, but still in ours. It's really interesting.
That is the big thing, though. The caveat with it is you have to be prepared for it to be a multi-decade sort of thing. The time doesn't make sense in it, but you also have to throw away canon to a degree as well. And it is fun. To me, it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'd rather watch this than Inhuman.
So do it. All right, let's move into some movies here. And we're going to quickly talk about the Justice League trailer, which...
Oh, boy.
It's more... Okay, truthfully, more excited than I have been, but that's not saying much. It doesn't do much for me. It gave me a little bit more excitement, but honestly, the reshoot news today... infinitely more excited over that news.
Everything reshoots, though, Steven. Everything. All of the Marvel movies have had reshoots in recent years. The Star Wars movies all had reshoots. It's just what they do now. They film it and they go, oh, crap, we messed this part up. We should really redo part of this. We're going to rewrite this part of the script. So that part doesn't worry me as much.
No, I'm not worried. It has me more excited. It has me more excited.
Okay, I misunderstood then.
Yeah, because I think that this is given the schedule, I think it's pretty obvious that this went beyond the original allocated reshoot timeline. So I'm okay with that. To me, it shows creative hope. But this trailer, though, let's get back to the trailer.
Moustache hope.
Yeah, mustache hope. The trailer, though, is not. It's okay. It's a bunch of shots of heroes. That's about it.
The trailer's a sizzle reel. It was not a trailer.
No. That's putting it better than I would have.
Michelle, what do you think?
See, I don't know what it is about me. I don't have complete hatred for Academy Award winning Suicide Squad. And I first off, they have to. This is a film that brings together a team with a bunch of people that don't have their own solo films. Beforehand. Okay. It's not like the Avengers where we knew basically everybody. And for Justice League, it is like this trailer kind of introduces all the League members. So this way you kind of get a feel for who they are before you go to the movie. First off, you got Wonder Woman. She's being Wonder Woman. It's great. In this trailer, I liked how Cyborg, hacked the thing. And he's like, I got this, Alfred. And Alfred being great, can't beat Jeremy Irons. Like, who is this? What? Barry Allen is quippy. I love that little moment where, there were James Gordon and then turns around and everybody's gone except for the Flash.
The fastest man alive.
Yeah. And he's all like, well, wait, they left. Well, that's rude. And, he goes and the one who is just having a complete blast. Marvel has Tom Hiddleston having a blast with Loki. DC finally has someone like that in Jason Momoa. At SDCC, he had his trident. He went barefoot. He was awesome. And in this trailer, you see that he is just having fun every single second that he was on set. He loves being Aquaman. He is pumped for it. And you really got to see this in the trailer. So I am defending this trailer.
So I actually defended it earlier too. Like I said, though, it's a sizzle reel. It's not a trailer. They put a bunch of clips together for Comic-Con. It's not necessarily, you're not going to get this 4.5 minute long trailer in the theaters. Like you said, Momoa is awesome. I think he's going to be the highlight of this movie. He's going to steal the spotlight because every time he's on screen, he's having the time of his life with just this S-eating grin on his face as he's destroying things. Gal Gadot is going to continue to be great as Wonder Woman. I like Batfleck. Batfleck's all right, but we've already seen more than that. We just need to see more of what Cyborg is actually going to get to do, and same with the Flash. And I don't envy Ezra Miller because everyone is going to by default compare him to Grant Gustin. Especially with the fact that his movie, and we'll touch on this later, I'm sure, is called Flashpoint now. Considering they just did that in the TV show, they're not really setting Ezra Miller in the Flash movie up for success, and I really hope they can pull it off. And generic DC villain, whatever, that's appearing in this Justice League footage, I really hope that's just a front for someone bigger being behind the scenes later. But it's not terrible. It's got some stuff that has me really interested, but what I said when I saw this, I looked at my girlfriend and went, oh, Marvel's going to eat their lunch with whatever trailer they show.
I got to say, for me personally, I appreciate the Barry Allen humor, but to me solidified what I'm concerned about with this is that it's going to feel disjointed. I felt like that moment was very different than the rest of the trailer, and I'm hoping that in the final movie, it blends better, because that stood out to me, and I didn't think that it was in line and in tone with the rest of the trailer.
So obviously Wonder Woman and Aquaman were the two standouts of that sizzle reel. But I was watching and I'm just like, I just can't help feeling like it's a cheaper knockoff version of the Avengers films. I just can't. I mean, it just doesn't have that same look. Like, it just looks cheaper to me. And I know I'm biased against DC. I'm a Marvel guy. I like what Marvel does. But it's like, really, DC? I mean, we've done this stuff for a number of years now, and it still doesn't feel like... I mean, you kind of redeemed yourself with Wonder Woman there a little bit, but...
Yeah. I think ultimately we'll have to see what happens. I think that the editing process is going to be very interesting, because obviously there's the director change problem, and also there's the fact that this movie was conceived when a different universe was planned, and then Wonder Woman's success shows that's the direction to go. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think what you just said proves that we're still probably a good year or two out before DC's movie universe really comes to fruition, because what they're doing now and what they've been doing up until now, and the fact that you've seen them do reshoots with Henry Cavill, and it's just like, oh, there's still so much going wrong for DC.
Yeah. Well, next up, we're going to talk about Thor Ragnarok. This trailer dropped. I got to say, I'll make mine quick because I know we're running late. Loved it. Amazing. To me, out of legitimate trailers, the highlight of SDCC release. It looks very exciting, and I'm happy to see that there might not be as much of a just balls to the wall comedic tone that the first teaser led us to believe. I am very excited for this film.
The director did say it was going to be much more comedic, as did Chris Hemsworth at SDCC. SDC, yeah, that's right. But it looks like it's a lot of fun. I mean, we all knew there was going to be a Thor trailer that was showed off here, but it was fun. It set up all sorts of crazy stuff going forward. You get to see more of the Hulk. You get Hulk talking. I watched it. I geeked out, and I was like, okay, I got to watch this trailer again now. And I've only watched it 3 times now, but each time I've been like, oh, there's a little thing I didn't notice before. Like, there's Beta Ray Bill's face on a statue and stuff like that. There's so much cool stuff, but I cannot wait to see what is probably the final fight between Hela and Thor on the Rainbow Road in Asgard. There's just so many beautiful shots in that trailer. The Rainbow Road fight, the Valkyries confronting Hela. This is going to be such a fun, bright, colorful movie, it looks like. I love what they've done with Phase 3, how they've kind of twisted everything into being very different from what we saw in Phase 1 and 2.
Agreed.
But still, I think that's what kind of differentiates Marvel from DC. I mean, to me, Justice League and even Thor Ragnarok are two completely different film houses, and you can tell which is the better version.
Marvel's not afraid to say they're making a comic book movie is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Well, and even this is different than the other Thors. Let's just admit that Thor 2 we wish didn't happen. But now they're actually taking Thor and putting him where he belongs, in like that Asgard space sort of realm. And that's what I like about what's happening, with Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy. We can literally leave Earth behind now and go cosmic and go weird. And I like how, I don't know, like 1970s, 1980s, this kinds of feels in a way. It's just, it's actually different from other Marvel films when you think about it. If Guardians of the Galaxy didn't succeed, I don't think we would have Thor Ragnarok like this. And because we had Guardians succeed, we now get Thor Ragnarok, and we finally get to see Thor the way he should be.
100% agree. I'm super excited. Again, this is the one that, to me, won SDCC as far as official trailers go. And finally, the last thing that we'll quickly mention is that there is a bunch of, it's a sizzle reel of Avengers Infinity War, stuff that they've already got together because they only started shooting 2 months ago? Yeah. So
Film 1 is in the can. Film 2 starts in 2 weeks.
Okay. I didn't know it was in the can already.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's why one of the Russo brothers stayed back in Atlanta, as he was still editing
I didn't realize it was that far along. Okay, I was wrong on that, but still, a lot of stuff they've already got together, and it was a bootleg sizzle reel. If you can find it, go check it out. It's don't check it out. That would be illegal.
The Russo brothers did say once it is ready, there will be a teaser that comes out. Note, they did not say it would be that teaser, but they're saying, for instance, in fact, James Gunn went and backed them up. Special effects and stuff aren't done yet. So something you're going to show one time at San Diego Comic-Con is very different than something you're going to put out on the internet. So people can dissect frame by frame and pick out the little flaws that might be you didn't get your CGI fully polished versus this is an actual Easter egg for something. Last thing you want is someone going, look at that cut on Iron Man's armor. That means he's going to get attacked by so-and-so. And they're like, no, we just missed it in CGI.
Yeah,
it's not done yet.
Yeah.
First, I heard what was even better than Thor and Infinity War was the Black Panther trailer that everybody wishes they would release.
Yes, they have.
Heard it got a standing ovation. I read somebody did like a complete description, and just reading it, I'm just like, I want to see this so bad.
Yeah, that one didn't leak as far as I could see. So that's interesting. So any final thoughts on any of this before we wrap up?
Not looking forward to a lot of this stuff.
Make mine Marvel. I am a fully confessed Marvel fanboy, but I think Justice League could be better than a lot of people expect.
I will say that I am hopeful for Justice League based off of today's news and what I saw. I don't know. It remains to be seen. And in Humans, I hope that I am correct, but I'm prepared to be so wrong. So
you're gonna pull the audio quote where you said you think it's going to be fun, so we can revisit this in 6 months, and I can just look at you and go, like Drax.
I already regret it. But that is going to take us to the end of the show. Michelle, Sunkast, thank you so much for coming on here. We greatly appreciate that. You can check out Michelle on the Starling Tribune. That's over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com, as well on GonnaGeek.com. Michelle's writing away all the time, right?
Yes, I am.
Except
for when I'm on here.
I still think that you hold the most viewed article on Gonna Geek. I believe that you have that record.
Awesome.
I think. Sunkast, you are available at gfqnetwork.com, correct?
Yep. And also Twitter at Sunkast.
And on the official GonnaGeek.com show, as you can see by his video flag today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you go ahead and adjust that to me? Show me the better podcasting side.
Yeah, sure. I'll just do that.
Thanks to both of you for coming on here, and check out Chris Ferrell, because I'll just go ahead and plug away. Chris, we can find you on a plethora of shows, including the Starling Tribune, All Things Good and Nerdy. You can also find him on the GonnaGeek.com show. And finally, you can go and drive to his house and watch through his window. But that is the end of episode 201 of the official GonnaGeek.com show. I'm Stephen Jondrew saying 201.
And I am also Stephen Jondrew saying 201.
And I'm Chris Ferrell saying Inhumans will be worse than the Elektra movie.
And I'm Michelle Ealey saying, give Justice League a chance.
And Inhumans. Bye.
Inhumans is poop.
I'm going to be so wrong.
You're going to be so wrong.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the GonnaGeek.com show. If you enjoyed it, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes or a thumbs up on YouTube. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to show@GonnaGeek.com. You can find our entire archive at GonnaGeek.com/show. And while you're there, why not check out all of the other geeky content on the Gonna Geek Network? Want to chime into our live chat? Join us Mondays at 8:45 p.m. Eastern at www.geeks.live. The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. This show was produced and edited by Stephen Jondrew of Gonna Geek Productions. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.